capitalize on the use of the
Well, thousands of students face challenges in school and have benefited from tutoring. But how do you know if your child needs tutoring, and how do you keep them motivated? Joining me now, education expert and founder of TutorBright, Sunny Verma. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so let's talk about it. We are in the new year, and a lot of parents are now looking at different report cards and saying, do we need additional help? So when is the right time to say, maybe we need a tutor?
Well, I think this is probably the most perfect time of year. You know, your children just came back from a break. They're probably rested, hopefully relaxed, and I think if anything, their batteries are recharged. So what better way to kickstart the engine than this time of year to really get somebody coming in with some academic support?
Okay, so let's say you're looking at a report card. Where is the line, I guess? You know, is it, I guess it's more of an individual thing. You know your own child, but is it when they're dropping well below the average? Is it when they're just struggling just a bit? Like, what is the indicator?
I really think it's an individual basis, but I think the first question you have to ask yourself, especially as a parent, is my child reaching their potential? And if the answer is no, then that's where I really think you start to look at a tutor. For example, there's people get tutoring, you know, if they have A+, and then people get tutoring when they have Fs as well.
Right.
The real nature of tutoring has changed. It's not just about raising your grades anymore. It's really about raising your confidence and self-esteem. So then that really goes back to the potential.
Okay, so let's talk about that. You said some students are getting tutored when they're like A+ students. So what does that tutoring entail then? Because then it's not necessarily the nitty-gritty of the numbers and all of this, but it's building something different within the child.
Yeah, so the way I sort of look at it is that a parent's job is to put a roof over your head, food in your stomach, and you know, sometimes we forget that we also have this obligation that we're there to nurture the mind as well for our children. And having a tutor coming in is really to take over that role, to really supplement it, to nurture the mind and teach your children the characteristics of greatness. And what I mean by this is teaching them about perseverance, grit, focus, and overall happiness, and building their confidence. And this is something they can take with them for the rest of their lives, way beyond academics.
Also about reaching goals too, which is interesting, right? Like goal setting, goal reaching, and goal exceeding.
Yeah, absolutely. When we look at goals for children, especially in the youth age, a lot of parents don't really set goals with their children. So even getting the habits to set goals with your child is sometimes difficult between a parent and their child, but it's a lot easier with the tutor and their student.
Okay, so let's talk about the tutoring process. There might be a lot of parents watching right now and they say, this is all nice and everything, but tutors, that's pricey.
Yeah.
So how do you respond to that?
Well, the way I look at it is, it's a huge benefit for your child's future, and the price for tutoring can really range anywhere from as low as $15 per hour to, you know, upwards of $100 per hour. So expensive, I think, really is a relative term. I think the first thing you have to look at is, will it have a massive benefit for my child? And if the answer is yes, then perhaps you want to look into it. And I wouldn't say do something that's going to break the bank either. I think tutoring should be affordable and should be effective.
Okay, so for your organization, what does the tutoring structure look like? You know, this is one-on-one? Is it with a group of individuals? How does that look?
It's definitely one-on-one, and usually it's within the household. We really believe in having that energy and that connection with somebody, and really helping motivate and inspire them in that sort of arrangement to have that face-to-face connection and conversation with them.
Do you find that it's different with someone who's being tutored in the house versus going to a location, you know, a building, and where there's all these other tutors set up? Is there a different state of mind? Yeah,
absolutely. I prefer in-home, and not just saying it as bias. It's also where you complete your homework. It's where you're most comfortable. So building those habits and behaviors on the dinner table is really important, because you're going to do that after the tutoring session as well.
Okay, and this, I've read a lot of studies on this about location of where you're studying. Where should the tutoring take place? A lot of people do it at the dinner table. They do it in the living room in front of a TV. Where is the best place to focus for a child?
Where there's the least amount of distractions. Right? So if you have a busy household, it's probably not best to have the dinner table. And if it's in your room and you have your PlayStation and your laptop, that's probably not the best.
Your bed, so you can just lay down.
Just lay down and take a nap, right, between math questions. But what I do suggest is always trying to find a safe place to actually study. Creating a safe environment or an office for your child, I think, is really important. We look at this as doing it as adults, but it's also really important to do it when you're really young.
Well, you create it, right? And then you, as adults, you learn up knowing, grow up knowing what is your space where you can focus, right?
Absolutely.
Really good tips here. Okay, tutorbright.com for more information. You're also on Twitter. At TutorBright.
You got it.
You got it. Okay, so thank you so much. I appreciate you coming in, and happy learning, everybody.